Godzilla Singular Point is the new Netflix original anime series that is 13 episodes long. Engineer Yun and grad student Mei have their paths crossed when they hear a mysterious song coming from a radio transmission. When cosmic monsters start to show up around the world, Yun and Mei must find a way to defeat them and stop them from invading Earth. Character motives are established quickly, and the show doesn't waste viewers' time on getting to the point when it comes to starting the introduction of the plot. The first monster appears at the end of the first episode, so the action isn't something that takes forever to start showing up. The series isn't just about Godzilla, but other monsters as well that are coming from red dust that is appearing in oceans and other places around the world. Much like the Warner Bros. Godzilla movies, the story is centered around the humans more so than the monsters themselves, although it makes sure that the monster's rampage is shown enough to keep it an important part of the show and to keep watchers entertained. Characters aren't completely powerless to the monsters, and are actually able to fight back with the help of Jet Jaguar, which is a massive robot that Yun helped create. The show actually has a decent amount of fighting in it, which was a pleasant surprise to see. After each fight, Jet Jaguar gets upgrades in order to stay competing with the new monsters that appear. It's cool to see how strong Jet Jaguar gets each fight, as Yun keeps upgrading the robot and adding new features to it. Yun even eventually adds an AI to Jet Jaguar, which creates a character out of the robot that actually contributes to the story more, which is actually something pretty interesting that the series decided to do. Jet Jaguar also makes some lighthearted moments that don't feel forced, and is probably the most entertaining character compared to everyone else. Yun and Mei are the main characters of the anime, but side characters are still there to help move the plot forward, and to keep things interesting. Goro and Haberu are there to help Yun with engineering on technology and robots to help fight the monsters. Meanwhile, Professor Lee helps Mei with trying to learn more about how to stop the monsters and where they came from. Each character has their own unique personality and motives that impact the story. The anime sometimes shows how social media and the news reacts to monster occurrences, and although it doesn't happen often, it's still a good inclusion. Viewers get to see how people around the world are on social media having different reactions to the catastrophes, and see different ideas on how things should be handled. The character designs and animation are done pretty well, especially on the monsters. The 3D look isn't too bad, and they did a great job on it. The sudden monster appearances and seeing characters have to figure out how and why the monsters are invading Earth is a good way to start things and keep viewers watching. However, if you're hoping for Godzilla to be heavily involved in the show, then this anime might not be for you. Godzilla doesn't make his first appearance until the 4th episode, and isn't an important part of the story until the 7th episode. Although the animation of Godzilla isn't bad, and the design itself is kind of weird and could have been better. The fight between Jet Jaguar and Godzilla is only a couple minutes long, and is pretty anticlimactic. It would have been better if it took more time creating an intense fight, rather than a quick one that feels disappointing. It's still interesting that Godzilla isn't the only kaiju, and the anime can show a variety of monsters, and the story still stays entertaining without him being in it for a decent portion of the show. The only issue is that once Godzilla does start getting a decent amount of screen time, he isn't even the main focal point of the plot, and has to share the spotlight with other perspectives of things going on. At least the very end of the show is focused just on him, which is a good way to keep the climax interesting. The overall plot of the anime was very complicated and all over the place. The beginning of the show is easy to follow, but around the 4th episode, things start to get complicated. If you're not paying attention to almost any conversation or event that occurs, then you're going to miss important details that move the story forward, and will leave you feeling confused for a majority of the series. A lot of the times, scenes have too fast of pacing, especially when Mei and Yun communicate over text. They talk so fast in their conversations, which makes it hard to pick up on everything, and they have important details in them, so you have to hear everything that's being said. Sometimes there's too much going on with characters at some points of the anime, having 5 different character perspectives to switch from in one episode. The plot revolves around a lot of scientific ideas involving different dimensions and time travel, which felt like having both was a bit too much sometimes. It makes sense that the monsters would come from another dimension, but adding time travel to the mix of things just seems to overcomplicate things, since the plot would still be understandable and make sense without it. If you don't watch the show just for Godzilla and pay attention to what's going on, then it's a decent watching experience. but the show doesn't really have replay value. Godzilla Singular Point is alright, and has a few things holding it back from being really good. We give Godzilla Singular Point a 6.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel to see more reviews on TV shows, video games, and movies when they come out. Comment below with your thoughts on the show. We'd love to hear your opinions.